So, how do I look? Honestly, I feel like these glasses look a bit bulky on my face. Maybe my face is just small. But hey, I don't really care how they look. What matters is, do they actually work? Let's find out. This is the XREAL One and not the Pro version. Pro took forever to be announced and even now is still only available for pre-order on their website. I couldn't wait, instead I picked up the XREAL One. Found it in a store while I was in Japan. Amazon was selling it for almost double the official price, even though the company listed at just $4.99. Right now, I've got my notes up on screen and yes, I'm totally cheating by reading them through the XREAL One. Quick disclaimer, these glasses were actually a birthday gift from my wife. No sponsorship here, just my honest experience after using them for about 2 months. And one more thing, I'm not an expert on AR glasses. I've only tried the Meta Quest once in a store. So when it comes to AR glasses, this is pretty much my first real hands-on experience. If you know more than I do, and I'm sure many of you do, please drop your thoughts in the comments. It could really help me and others watching. Now, I've seen a lot of YouTubers review this, but each one had a different story. So I guess experiences really depend on your use case, face shape, or vision strength. In this video, I'm going to share my own experiences, exactly how I've been using them. So why did I even buy these glasses? Most people pick them up for gaming, but for me the biggest role was video editing. Specifically using them with Premiere Pro and as a monitor for my camera setup. Can I use them as an extended monitor? Or maybe even as a mirrored display? That was the goal. But before I get into my editing experience, let's take a quick look at the device itself. Some key features and why I chose this one over the competition. It comes with a shiny and tiny amazing case. Honestly, it's pretty nice. The glasses themselves feel delicate. They are plastic and they scratch easily. I already managed to scratch one of the glasses, so yeah, don't just toss this into your backpack. And not much bigger than a regular glasses case. Easy to take with you anywhere. First off, the glasses is lightweight. Not as light as a regular pair of sunglasses, of course, but way lighter than something like the Apple Vision Pro or the Meta Quest. It weighs just 84 grams. And it works just like a monitor. You can use it on the beach, on a plane, and no one around you even knows you're editing a video or watching a show. What I really love about the XREAL One and also the One Pro is that they come with their own built-in chip. That means you don't need to buy a separate device or interface like the Beam or Beam Pro. Just plug in your phone or your laptop and you're ready to go. So for me, this one was all about simplicity. That's what made the XREAL One stand out from the other similar AR options out there. When you are working on a complex project in Premiere Pro, you really need a large screen to focus on the details. But let's be real, you can't carry a 50-inch monitor onto a plane or even just use one easily when you are on the go. So the big question for me was, can this replace the monitor on my desk? Because that thing takes up a lot of space. And now I've been using the XREAL One for the past 2 months, editing most of my videos on Premiere Pro, and honestly I'm shocked. This little device can do so much. It gives you a 50-degree field of view and the screen can feel like it's up to 147 inches. Distant adjustment, you can even stretch that to 191 inches. It has something called 3 degrees of freedom or 3 DOFs. What does that mean? Let me explain. The first one is follow. When you move your head, the display moves with you. So if you look to the right or left, up or down, the screen follows your movement. In this mode, seeing the corners of the screen is basically a workout for your neck. You have to freeze your head like a statue and stay straight ahead. Any tiny hand movement and the screen decides to play tag and follows you around. Maybe that's handy for some people, but for me it's like trying to watch a movie while balancing a book on my head. Not gonna happen. But for me, the real game changer is the Anker mode. This is the main reason I bought these glasses. In Anker mode, the display locks into space, so if you move your head, the screen stays in that exact spot. To see different parts of the screen, you have to turn your head just like you would with a giant 200-inch TV in front of you. And I absolutely love that. Because in this mode, it truly feels like a real monitor, one you can bring anywhere. Another degree of freedom is what they call the side view mode. In this mode, the display can lock to the left or right corner with a smaller screen, and yes, you can place it on left or right upper corner, and this small screen follows your head movement. It's perfect for moments when you need to see your surroundings but still want to keep your favorite show or movie visible. I personally use this feature a lot with my Osmo Action 5 Pro. Yep, you can actually use these glasses as an external monitor for that camera. And from what I know, this is the only action camera that lets you output to an external monitor like this. So if you're someone who cares about framing and wants to see exactly what your camera sees, this is a great feature. Imagine this, you are cruising on a bike, wanting to keep an eye on your framing and not crash into a tree, perfect. But if you're zipping down the highway on a fast motorbike or driving a car, I would say skip it unless you enjoy your screen turning into an extra distraction right before you meet a traffic cop. If your camera supports wireless image transmission to a smartphone like DJI Pocket 3, you can connect the Xreal One to your phone and monitor your framing through the glasses. This setup can be useful when shooting outdoors in bright conditions where it's hard to see your camera screen, also if you're not able to see your camera screen scenarios, and if you want to avoid carrying a bulky external monitor. However, here's the catch. I wasn't able to connect the Xreal One to my Fujifilm X-S20 using the HDMI adapter, while the camera recognized as an HDMI connection and the Xreal One powered on. I received a no display warning, and this issue might be due to my camera or the HDMI cable, but it highlights the bigger point: the device doesn't seem to connect seamlessly to all HDMI sources as a monitor. It also supports an ultra-wide mode that's a 32:9 aspect ratio with a super wide field of view. I'll get into that a bit more later. Alright, let's talk a bit more about how it connects. The Xreal One or One Pro has no built-in battery. Instead, it draws power directly from the connected device and doesn't consume much battery. However, if you plan to use with your phone, I recommend using a wireless power bank like Anker, which can quickly charge your phone wirelessly. Alternatively, you can get a dongle from Amazon that lets you charge your phone while using the Xreal glasses at the same time. I will leave the links below. It comes with a USB-C to USB-C cable, but here's the catch. The device you connect to must support DisplayPort over USB-C. Not all USB-C ports do that. For example, I have 3 laptops at home. My wife's Apple M1 connects to it with 0 issues. My small work laptop also works just fine, but my high-end laptop, which I use to edit videos, wouldn't connect at all. What I figured out is that even though it has Thunderbolt 3 ports, they might not support display output, or maybe they are not supplying enough power. So I bought an adapter from Amazon. Its name is XREAL, I don't know. I will put the links down below. And one end connects to HDMI, and one end is USB-C for power, and the other end connects to Xreal One. So this little device delivers power to Xreal One, at the same time uses the HDMI to connect your device. This setup let me send both video and power from my laptop to the glasses. If your laptop is like mine, you'll probably need an HDMI adapter with the power output. According to the company website, it's compatible with a ton of devices, including iPad, Android phones, PCs, iPhones, Xbox, Steam Deck, Switch, PlayStation 5, Mac, ROG Ally, even drone controllers. Of course, I haven't tested all of them personally, but since this connects via USB-C, you will need an adapter if your device doesn't have a USB-C port, especially if you are using an iPhone with a Lightning connector. For iPhones with a Lightning port, you will need to purchase a Lightning to HDMI digital AV adapter and another adapter to convert HDMI to USB-C. However, you will also need an HDMI cable and a separate power supply for the device, or you need to buy Xreal Beam or Beam Pro interface, which makes the setup quite inconvenient. So keep that in mind. So the big question is, can I really edit videos for hours and hours with these glasses? And the answer is yes, absolutely. I've been editing in Premiere Pro for long sessions without any headaches, eye strain or dizziness. But don't just take my word for it. Some YouTubers mentioned that they experienced headaches or dizziness with Xreal One or One Pro after 1 hour usage. In my opinion, that might be due to myopia, nearsightedness. If you have a myopia, you may need prescription lenses for these glasses. However, it doesn't come in the box. You can buy lens attachments separately for that. Now I have hypermetropia, which is farsightedness. I don't need prescription lenses to use this. All I do is set the screen distance to around 4 or 5 meters and I have no vision problems at all. Another thing to note is the ultra-wide view feature. This mode works perfectly on my wife's MacBook M1 and also on my business laptop. But on my higher-end laptop, which I connect using the HDMI adapter, the ultra-wide feature doesn't work. It also didn't work on my Samsung Note 20 or even with the Galaxy S23. Ultra-wide is great because it lets you see more at once and rearrange your desktop to use that extra space. But since I couldn't always use that feature, I found a workaround, especially for Windows. So here's what I did. Windows usually sets a recommended display scale which makes everything on screen look bigger. For example, when I connect my Xreal One, Windows recommends a scale of 250%. But that also means you see less content on the screen. So I changed the scale to 100%, which gives me more space, but yes, the textures become really small. To solve that, I went into Xreal settings and selected a screen size of 191 inches and set the distance to about 4 meters. Now I have this massive screen in front of me. Sure, I need to move my head around to see everything, but that actually helps. If I want to focus on the timeline in Premiere Pro, it's right in front of me and big. If I want to work on the FX panel, I just shift my head and boom, it's right there. Panels I'm not using, they're out of the way, just like on a huge monitor. If you're dreaming of using the Xreal like a second extended monitor, not duplicated, for your laptop, well, good luck. Personally, I couldn't pull it off. Technically, you might manage if you undim the glasses and somehow park your Xreal screen off to the side while still staring at your actual laptop screen in front of you. But when you undim, the Xreal display basically turns into a ghost you can barely see. So for my sanity, I just mirror my laptop screen and blow it up to a giant 191 inch. Feels like I'm working in my own private IMAX theater. So yeah, it's not perfect, but once you figure out the setup that works for you, this thing becomes a serious editing tool. This device has a 1080p display for each lenses. And I honestly thought that wouldn't be enough, especially for editing 4K videos, but trust me, because the screen feels so huge and you can adjust the distance, I didn't feel limited by the resolution at all. Even for color grading, I assumed it wouldn't be accurate enough, but I was wrong again. For my level of color work, it's actually amazing. Colors look clean and vibrant. Now, if you are a professional colorist, you might still prefer a calibrated monitor. But for basic to intermediate grading, this device works really well. Now let's talk about audio. It comes with two Bose speakers on the sides. Are they good? Let me be honest, not really. First, when I connected it through the HDMI adapter, I couldn't get any sound from the speakers at all. I tried changing my laptop's audio settings, still nothing. It could be compatibility issue with the adapter or just my laptop, I'm not entirely sure. However, when I use it with my Android phone or my MacBook or work laptop, I mean anything without the HDMI adapter, the Bose speakers work perfectly fine. But here's the catch. If you are outside, let's say at a cafe or busy street, you will barely hear anything from those speakers. And if you are in a quiet place like on a plane, the person next to you will hear what you're listening to. That's sad, they won't see what you're watching, and most of the time they won't even realize you are wearing a monitor unless they are really curious. They may see some light falling to your eyes, but content isn't there. From the side, you cannot see any content coming. That's a big difference compared to the Apple Vision Pro or Meta Quest, which are a lot more noticeable in public. Now, what if you want to stay aware of your surroundings, see what's going on around you? You can easily adjust the lens transparency. It has 3 levels of electrochromic dimming, as you can see. And it's still too dim or too bright, you can adjust the brightness of the screen itself. Speaking of brightness, this thing goes up to 600 nits, which is plenty even on bright sunny days. I've used it on the beach under direct sunlight and I could still see the screen clearly. Here's where it gets tricky. When bright light hits the glasses from the sides, you'll get light reflection, which makes it hard to see the display. To fix that, I bought light blockers from Amazon. They are 3D printed by a startup called Ticotech. Amazing job on the quality. There are 3 buying options. One, like this, a full blocker. You just put it like this. Now you can see it's blocking the light from the sides as well as front for a blackout style viewing experience. Another one is a side only blocker. So it doesn't have this blackout screen here. It has only on the sides. So this blocks only from the sides, which lets you still see in front of you. Third one is a combo pack that includes both. Honestly, I wish I bought that combo because when I'm using it with my Xreal 5, I really need to see what's in front of me, but I also want to block the side light glare. So depending on your use case, those light blockers may be a best have accessory. It is light, soft, does the job. I'll leave the link below. Now, let's talk about something practical. When you're editing, you obviously need to use your keyboard and mouse, especially if you rely on Premiere Pro shortcuts like I do. Here's something smart about the XREAL One. There's a gap under the glasses, which lets you clearly see keyboard and mouse without removing the glasses. So when I'm editing, I don't even need the light blockers. I can work comfortably and efficiently. Now let's talk about brightness again. When I work from home, I usually set it to around 80 to 90% brightness. I don't need the full 600 nits because otherwise my eyes start feeling tired after a while. But when I'm watching movies on the beach connected to my phone, yes, I crank it up to the full 600 nits. And honestly, that's still plenty bright for me. I don't feel like I need anything more. Now what about gaming? Let me be honest with you, I'm not a gamer, but for those of you who are, this device has a 120Hz refresh rate and only 3 milliseconds of latency. So I will assume that should give you a smooth gaming experience. Now let's address something some YouTubers have mentioned, which is overheating. Yes, that's true. There is some heat, especially from the top of the device. But let me assure you, it's not going to burn your eyebrows, trust me. It's warm, but it's not that bad because my eyebrows not touching this area. If yours are touching, you should consider changing the nose guards. It comes in the box with 3 different options, but the default one fit me perfectly. I never needed to change it. But if it doesn't feel right for you, you can easily swap it out for a better fit. You can easily adjust the fit by fine-tuning the metal frame and adjusting the temple angles. The arms of the glasses have 3 vertical positions. They click into the place, up, middle or down. And the best part, you can adjust it while wearing them. Super convenient. It doesn't have a camera, but there's a camera clip-on accessory in the works. It's called the Xreal Eye and it will be sold separately. They announced it at $99, but as of now, the website still says coming soon. This camera will allow you to take photos, but to record video you will need the Beam Pro or maybe your phone, from what I understand. But again, that Beam Pro device is required to fully use this camera, what it says in their website. Alright, now let's take a quick look at the cons. Some YouTubers have talked about issues like eye fatigue, blurry edges or general discomfort. But for me honestly, none of those were a problem. If you do see blurry edge, there's an IPD adjustment available in the software, but I personally never had to use it. Now, let's talk about the real issue I experienced, and strangely, I haven't heard anyone mention this. The stabilization on this device is actually insanely good. Even when you're walking, there is no shaky screen in front of you. But after using for a long period, the screen starts to slowly slide to one side. It's almost like the screen is saying, hey, I'm tired of standing here, let me move a bit. This only happens in Anker mode, which is where the screen is supposed to stay locked in space, but sometimes it just doesn't. So what I do, I look where I want the screen to be, then long press this button right here and it locks again. until it slides again. It's not a deal breaker, but definitely a quirk. Now about those buttons. You get 3 buttons, all placed on the right arm. 1 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Actually, you may say 3 because this is for dimming, plus or minus. Yeah, we can say 4 buttons total. Long press this button or short press this button perform differently, and you can customize those buttons, which is amazing feature. What's the difference between the Xreal One and the Xreal One Pro? Well, the Xreal One Pro comes with a $599 price tag, while the Xreal One is priced at $499. So is it really worth paying an extra $100? Let's break it down. Field of view. Xreal One has a 50-degree field of view. Pro version bumps it up to 57-degree. For me, the 50-degree field of view on the regular Xreal One has never been a problem. The main difference in 50-degree versus 57-degree is, like, imagine you are looking outside from the window. When the field of view is 50 degrees, you see more of the frame of that window. When the FOV jumps to 57, you see more outside than the window frame. Here's something surprising. The Xreal One actually has a larger macro OLED display compared to the Pro. Yeah, sounds backwards, right? The regular Xreal One uses a 0.68-inch display, while the Pro only has 0.55 inches. Both support 1080p resolution with a 120Hz refresh rate, so no difference there. Brightness, the Pro version goes up to 700 nits, while the Xreal One is 600 nits. Xreal One weighs 84 grams, Pro is just 3 grams heavier at 87 grams, barely noticeable. Now here is the biggest difference. IPD adjustment. That's the interpupillary distance, or the distance between the 2 centers of your pupils. So here you can measure it. The Xreal One uses software-based IPD adjustment, while the Pro version lets you physically choose a better IPD fit when ordering. Also supports the digital IPD adjustment. You can select from the 2 options, medium or large, but ideally you should measure your IPD using a ruler or get it from your eye doctor for the best fit. Another notable thing, the Pro version comes with a prescription lens frame. No lens included, just a frame, and it costs $15. If you go for Pro version, you don't have to spend extra $15 for the frame. Yes, you pay additional $100, but you save $15 for the frame. The regular Xreal One doesn't include this, so you'll need to order the frame separately if you wear glasses. So yeah, those are the key differences between the 2 models. Are they game-changing for everyone? Maybe not, but if you need precise IPD fitting or you want to use prescription lenses, then the Pro version might be worth considering. So to wrap it all, the Xreal One has completely changed the way I work, especially when it comes to editing videos in Premiere Pro. Whether I'm at home or on the go, on the beach, in a cafe, or even on a plane, this thing lets me carry a giant private flexible screen in my pocket. Yes, it's not perfect. There are few quirks like overheating or the screen slightly shifting after long use, and the sound could be better in noisy environments. But honestly, I think this is one of the best AR glasses out there right now for creators, travelers, gamers, and productivity lovers. If you're someone who's looking for a way to watch movies privately or even monitor your action camera footage in real time, I would say give it a shot. I hope this video helped you understand what the Xreal One can do and whether it fits your workflow or lifestyle. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I reply to every single one of them. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.